the most powerful Jedi of his generation, didn't die on the floor of the Chancellor's office. He was betrayed, maimed, and thrown into the cold night of Coruscant. Mace Windu differed from the others. Yoda chose exile, and Obi-Wan chose hiding, but the Master of the Order selected a third option: revenge. This is the story of the Champion of the Light, surviving Order 66 to hunt the Hunters. Lightning crackled against his skull with absolute pain. As the wind rushed past his ears, Mace Windu refused to scream and instead focused. Jedi like Anakin and Obi-Wan had fallen from great heights before. Windu forced his mind past the agony of his severed hand to reach out to the Force. He slowed his fall enough to survive crashing through a transport lane and slamming into a neon billboard before hitting the Durasteel pavement of level 1313. He lay broken, burnt, and alive in the filth of the Undercity for hours. The darkness of the lower levels hid the body of the Republic's greatest defender. He was no longer a general, but a ghost. I want to thank everyone in the comments before Windu rises from the ashes. This video exists because you requested this specific scenario. Please suggest ideas for future Star Wars timelines in the comments, since we read every single one. If you enjoy this detailed look, hit that subscribe button to help us keep these stories coming. Recovery in the Undercity required survival rather than back-to-tanks or medical droids. Windu drifted in and out of consciousness for weeks until he woke to a changed galaxy. HoloNet screens in the slums broadcasted the face of the new Emperor, speaking of peace and the Jedi Rebellion. Windu saw through the lies. He crafted a crude prosthetic hand from droid scraps found in the gutter. It resembled a claw more than a Jedi's hand. He felt the disturbance in the Force as thousands of lightsabers were extinguished across the stars, signaling the death of the Order. The Master of Vaapad stopped holding back his darkness for the first time in his life. He remained on Coruscant because the arrogant Empire assumed he was dead. Figures in black armor, wielding spinning red blades, soon patrolled the lower levels to hunt Force-sensitive children. Windu watched from the shadows as a squad of purge troopers led by a pale figure cornered a fugitive Padawan. Windu recognized the leader as a former temple guard, rather than just a Sith acolyte. A man who had sworn to protect the Order now hunted its survivors, a betrayal that cut deeper than Anakin's blade. Windu intervened, not to save the Padawan, but to kill the traitor. The fight lasted 3 seconds because the Inquisitors were used to fighting frightened Padawans rather than the champion of the Jedi Council. Windu used the Force to crush the windpipe of the first trooper before igniting his purple blade. He moved with speed defying his age to step inside the guard of the spinning red blade instead of blocking. He took the Inquisitor's own weapon and decapitated him with it. Windu looked at the spinning red lightsaber in his metal hand. He kept the weapon without purifying the crystal. If the galaxy wanted monsters, he would become the thing that monsters feared. Rumors spread through the Imperial ranks as Inquisitors sent to the lower levels stopped reporting in. Only their broken helmets were found. The Grand Inquisitor dismissed this as rebel cells or bad luck from his high tower. But he was mistaken. Windu methodically worked his way up the food chain by using Jedi as bait rather than protecting them. He waited for an Inquisitor to track a target before ambushing the hunter. He killed the 6th brother in a spice den on Nar Shaddaa and crushed the 9th sister under a collapsing bridge on Braca to cut off the Empire's limbs. The Grand Inquisitor was a Pauan known for composure, but fear began to rot him from the inside. He examined grainy holographic footage from the site of the 9th sister's death and noted the aggression. The movements belonged to Form 7, also known as Vaapad. Only one master of that form existed. The Grand Inquisitor realized the man he once bowed to in the temple was coming for him. He refused to tell Vader out of terror of failure. He instead recalled every Inquisitor to their fortress on the water moon of Nur, believing numbers would protect them. Fortress Inquisitorius was an underwater tomb designed to break Jedi, but Windu arrived as a calamity rather than a prisoner. He stole an Imperial shuttle using old codes and crashed the ship directly into the underwater viewing deck instead of landing in the hangar. The ocean rushed in as alarms screamed. Mace Windu stepped out of the wreckage while the facility flooded. He ignited his original purple saber alongside the red blade of the sixth brother. He became a whirlwind of destruction, wielding both light and dark to cut through purge troopers as if they were smoke. The Grand Inquisitor waited in the interrogation chamber and ignited his spinning double blade to mask his trembling hands with arrogance. He sneered that the old man had no place there because the Order was dead. Windu simply walked forward without speaking. The Inquisitor spun his blade in a technique that terrified Padawans, but Windu caught the spinning ring with his metal hand. The mechanism stopped with the screech of tearing metal. Windu looked the traitor in the eye and declared that he was the Order. He dismantled the Grand Inquisitor's defense, strike by strike, to humiliate the former Temple Guard before the kill, showing him the difference between a pretender and a true master. The Grand Inquisitor knelt in defeat, awaiting the final blow. But it never came. The air in the room grew heavy and cold as the sound of mechanical breathing filled the chamber. Mace Windu turned to see the nightmare in black armor, standing in the doorway. It was Darth Vader, the man once known as Anakin Skywalker, who had taken his hand. Windu immediately sensed a shatter point running through the armor as a nexus of pain and hate. Vader's synthesized voice boomed that he had waited for this moment. Windu raised his blades to fight his own failure rather than a political abstraction. This was the fight the galaxy deserved. Vader moved like a juggernaut, swinging his red blade with enough force to shatter stone, but Windu flowed like water. He used Vaapad to channel Vader's anger and reflect the Sith Lord's power back at him. Sparks rained down as purple clashed with red. Windu possessed speed, while Vader possessed strength. The ocean pressed against the cracked transparasteel windows and threatened to drown them both. Windu landed a kick to Vader's chest panel that shorted out his breathing regulator. Vader stumbled as the heavy breathing stopped for a second. Windu raised his blade to finish what he started in the Chancellor's office, seeing the shatter point that could end the Empire right there. Windu hesitated, out of exhaustion rather than mercy. His body betrayed him from the damage caused by lightning years ago, and his metal hand seized up. Vader took advantage of that microsecond of weakness to rip the supports from the ceiling with the Force. Tons of debris crashed down on Windu, who caught the falling slab with the Force while straining every muscle. Vader stood over him with his lightsaber humming and declared that the Jedi were weak. Windu looked up, with sweat and blood running down his face. He realized he could not win this fight physically, but he could win the war. Windu pushed the debris at the cracked window behind him instead of at Vader. The glass shattered as the ocean of Nur roared into the fortress. Millions of gallons of water hit them with the force of a tidal wave. Vader was swept away as his heavy armor dragged him into the depths, and the Grand Inquisitor was crushed instantly. Mace Windu let the water take him without fighting the current. He felt a strange peace as he sank into the dark water. He had wiped out the leadership of the Inquisitorius, humiliated the Emperor's fist, and bought the galaxy time. Vader survived because his hate kept him warm in the freezing depths until a recovery team found him. The Inquisitorius was broken and took years to rebuild. The Grand Inquisitor was dead and replaced by lesser agents who never achieved his efficiency. The hunt for the Jedi slowed down. Dozens of Force-sensitive children slipped through the cracks because of Mace Windu's rampage. One might have been a boy on Lothal, while another might have been a scavenger on Jakku. The Empire tried to bury the story, but whispers spread in the underworld about the purple blade that broke the dark. Mace Windu was never the perfect Jedi due to his arrogance and harsh nature. However, he was the only one who refused to simply survive. He refused to hide in a swamp or watch from a distance, choosing to fight instead. His survival in this timeline proves the Empire was vulnerable, even at its height. It took the most aggressive Jedi to hurt them. He showed that the galaxy sometimes needs a warrior, despite the Jedi Code preaching peace. He did not bring balance to the Force, but he tipped the scales, enough to give the future a fighting chance. Mace Windu's story ends in the deaths of NUR, while his impact ripples forward. He proved that the spirit of the Jedi can still strike back, even when the Order falls. The goal was proving that the darkness could bleed, rather than winning a war immediately. That is a lesson every rebellion needs. Subscribe if you want to see more alternate timelines where heroes refuse to fade away. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.